Why people with good energy are often misunderstood, and how to deal with it. Have you ever wondered why, despite your best intentions and genuine positivity, some people still seem to misinterpret or even resist your energy? It's one of life's most frustrating paradoxes. The purer your intentions, the more misunderstood you sometimes feel. This isn't just your imagination. There's a profound reason why genuinely good energy can create unexpected resistance in others, and it goes far deeper than simple jealousy or misunderstanding. It touches on fundamental aspects of human psychology, energy dynamics, and even spiritual principles that have been observed across cultures for thousands of years. Today, I'm going to reveal why your light-filled energy might be triggering unexpected reactions in others, and more importantly, how to navigate these situations without dimming your authentic brightness. By the end of this video, you'll understand the invisible mechanics behind these interactions and have practical tools to maintain your positive energy while creating more harmonious connections. If you've ever felt puzzled when your genuine warmth was met with suspicion, or when your enthusiasm seemed to make others uncomfortable, stay with me. What you're about to discover might completely transform your understanding of human connections and free you from the burden of unnecessary self-doubt. The mirror effect. How your light reflects others' shadows. Have you ever noticed how some people seem instantly uncomfortable around genuinely positive individuals? There's a fascinating psychological phenomenon at play here called the shadow projection, first identified by Carl Jung. When you carry bright, authentic energy, you unknowingly serve as a mirror that reflects what others haven't yet reconciled within themselves. This mirror effect works on a profound psychological level. Each of us carries aspects of ourselves that we've pushed into our unconscious, qualities we've been taught to reject, suppress, or deny. When someone with particularly radiant energy enters our space, their light illuminates these hidden aspects, much like turning on a bright light in a dark room suddenly reveals all the dust and clutter we'd prefer not to see. Research from the field of cognitive dissonance shows that humans experience genuine psychological discomfort when confronted with evidence that contradicts their self-image. Your authentic positivity creates precisely this kind of disruption for someone who has convinced themselves that such goodness isn't possible or sustainable. Consider what happens when someone who believes everyone is ultimately selfish encounters a person demonstrating genuine altruism. Rather than rewriting their entire worldview, their mind often finds it easier to assume the altruistic person must have hidden motives or is somehow being fake. This protective mechanism preserves their existing belief system, but unfortunately results in your goodness being misinterpreted. For those carrying significant unhealed trauma, this effect intensifies. Studies in trauma psychology reveal that early wounding often creates deep-seated beliefs like, people can't be trusted, or showing vulnerability is dangerous. Your open, trusting energy directly challenges these protective beliefs, triggering their defense systems before any conscious thought occurs. Ancient spiritual traditions have recognized this dynamic for millennia. In Buddhist philosophy, it's understood that our perception is colored by our samskaras, mental impressions from past experiences that filter how we see reality. When someone views your clear, positive energy through heavily clouded filters, what they see isn't your true nature but a distortion created by their own unresolved patterns. Next time someone misinterprets your good intentions, remember, their reaction often has little to do with your actual energy and everything to do with what your presence is activating within them. Their response is not your responsibility to fix. The frequency mismatch. Why energy vibrations create discomfort. Everything in the universe vibrates at specific frequencies. This isn't metaphysical speculation, but a fundamental principle of quantum physics. Your thoughts, emotions, and overall state of consciousness create measurable electromagnetic frequencies that interact with the energy fields of others around you. When you've done significant inner work to raise your energetic frequency through practices like meditation, gratitude, forgiveness, or conscious living, you begin operating at a vibration that can feel distinctly foreign to those resonating at different frequencies. This creates what energy psychology researchers call a frequency mismatch. Dr. David Hawkins, in his groundbreaking research on consciousness calibration, mapped how different emotional states correspond to different frequency levels. States like shame, guilt, and fear vibrate at lower frequencies, while peace, joy, and compassion vibrate much higher. When frequencies significantly differ, they create interference patterns rather than harmonic resonance. Think about what happens when two musical notes are slightly out of tune. They create an uncomfortable dissonance. Similarly, when your field of high-frequency energy intersects with someone operating at a very different frequency, it creates a kind of energetic dissonance that can feel physically and emotionally uncomfortable for both parties, though often more so for the person at the lower frequency. This discomfort triggers a subconscious response. Either elevate to match the higher frequency, which requires energy, and often confronting suppressed emotions, or resist the influence of the higher frequency, which often manifests as criticism, doubt, or withdrawal. Many people unconsciously choose the latter path simply because it requires less immediate energy expenditure. Neuroscience offers additional insight through the concept of neural entrainment, the tendency of neural systems to synchronize with external rhythms. Your calm, coherent energy field naturally begins to entrain the nervous systems of those around you toward greater coherence. For someone whose identity or emotional patterns are invested in chaos or drama, this entrainment feels threatening rather than supportive. Understanding this frequency principle helps explain why your positive energy might create resistance in specific environments or relationships. The discomfort others feel is not personal rejection, but a natural response to energetic frequencies their systems aren't currently configured to resonate with comfortably. The authenticity paradox. When genuine goodness seems too good to be true. In a world where manipulation and hidden agendas are common, authentic goodness often faces deep skepticism. This creates what psychologists call the authenticity paradox. The more genuinely positive your intentions and energy, the more likely some people are to doubt your sincerity. This paradox has roots in our evolutionary history. Humans developed sophisticated detection systems for identifying deception as a survival mechanism. These systems are highly sensitive but also prone to false positives. They sometimes flag authenticity as potential deception precisely because perfect consistency between inner states and outer expression is relatively rare. Research in behavioral economics, particularly studies on trust and cooperation, reveals something fascinating. People who encounter unusually high levels of cooperation or generosity often respond with suspicion rather than appreciation. This unbelievability of goodness effect appears across cultures and socioeconomic backgrounds. Our media-saturated environment amplifies this effect. We're constantly exposed to stories of betrayal, hidden motives, and revelations that seemingly good people harbor dark secrets. This creates a cultural context where cynicism is equated with wisdom and skepticism with self-protection. Within this framework, your consistent positivity can seem naive at best or manipulative at worst. Spiritual traditions offer perspective on this phenomenon. In many wisdom teachings, it's understood that as individuals evolve in consciousness, they naturally move toward greater authenticity, compassion, and unconditional positive regard for others. However, these same traditions acknowledge that such attributes will often be misunderstood by those not yet operating from the same level of awareness. The psychological concept of projection also plays a role. People who maintain facades or operate with hidden agendas naturally project these patterns onto others. Someone who regularly pretends to be positive while harboring negative intentions will struggle to believe that your positive energy is genuine, assuming you must be engaged in the same kind of performance they're familiar with. Remember that skepticism about your genuine positivity often says more about the prevalence of inauthenticity in our culture than about any fault in your self-expression. Your consistency over time is the most powerful response to such doubts. Energy. Vampirism. When your vibrance threatens energetic dependencies. Have you noticed that certain individuals seem particularly troubled by your vibrant energy? There's a fascinating energetic dynamic that explains this. Some people have developed unconscious patterns of drawing vital force from others, rather than generating it from within. When they encounter someone with strong, self-contained energy like yours, it disrupts their habitual method of energetic nourishment. This pattern, sometimes called energy vampirism in metaphysical traditions, has been studied in psychological contexts as emotional dependency and codependency. Individuals who haven't developed healthy emotional boundaries often become accustomed to merging with others' energy fields to supplement their own depleted resources. Research in interpersonal neurobiology, particularly the work of Dr. Daniel Siegel, has shown that our nervous systems constantly communicate with and regulate each other. People with dysregulated systems often unconsciously seek out others whose energy can help stabilize them. When you maintain healthy energetic boundaries, you unintentionally disrupt this dynamic, sometimes triggering anxiety or resentment. What makes this particularly challenging is that these patterns typically operate below conscious awareness. The person responding negatively to your energy rarely understands the true source of their discomfort. Instead, they might find themselves thinking thoughts like, "She's too much," or "He thinks he's better than everyone," narratives that justify their aversion without addressing its actual cause. Traditional wisdom from various healing systems, from Chinese medicine to Ayurveda, has long recognized that energy depletion creates a specific kind of hunger that can lead to unconscious energy-drawing behaviors. Your robust, well-maintained energy field naturally resists these draws, creating friction with those accustomed to easier access. This dynamic becomes especially pronounced in environments where energy drainage has become normalized. Certain family systems, workplaces, or social groups where giving away your energy is implicitly expected. Your refusal to participate in this exchange, even unconsciously, can be perceived as a threat to the established order. Understanding this dynamic helps explain why certain relationships become strained as you become more energetically sovereign. It's not that your energy has become bad, but rather that you're no longer participating in unhealthy energy exchanges that previously went unquestioned. The light bearer's burden. Carrying positive energy in resistant environments. Throughout history, those who maintain positive energy amid challenging circumstances have faced a unique form of resistance. This light bearer's burden reflects a sociological phenomenon where groups unconsciously work to maintain emotional homeostasis, sometimes actively discouraging members from exceeding the group's average positivity level. Social psychology research, particularly studies on group dynamics and emotional contagion, shows that humans are extraordinarily sensitive to emotional outliers within their social groups. When someone consistently exhibits significantly more positivity than the group norm, it often triggers what researchers call leveling mechanisms, subtle or overt social pressures designed to bring the outlier back in line with group averages. This dynamic is particularly visible in environments where negativity, cynicism, or victimhood has become part of the collective identity. Your positivity in such settings doesn't just contrast with the prevailing mood. It implicitly challenges the group's chosen narrative about what's possible or appropriate under their shared circumstances. From an anthropological perspective, this resistance has deep evolutionary roots. Tribal cohesion historically depended on shared worldviews and emotional alignment. Divergent perspectives, even positive ones, could potentially threaten group cohesion. While this mechanism may have served early human communities, it can create significant friction for positive individuals in modern contexts. Spiritual traditions from various cultures contain stories of light bearers facing resistance, from ancient myths to accounts of historical figures who maintained compassionate presence amid hostility. These traditions suggest that carrying light in dark places has always required a certain strength of purpose and inner resolve. Research in positive psychology offers an important insight, what psychologists call realistic optimism. Positivity grounded in clear-eyed assessment of challenges rather than denial often triggers more resistance than naive positivity. Your grounded, authentic positive energy presents a more direct challenge to negativity bias, precisely because it can't be easily dismissed as ignorance or delusion. When facing resistance to your positive energy in specific environments, recognize that you're encountering a deeply ingrained social dynamic rather than personal rejection. Your consistent presence over time can gradually shift these environments, but only if you first understand the natural resistance you're likely to encounter. The disruption of comfort zones. Your growth triggers others' fear. Personal growth and expanded consciousness don't just change you, They change the dynamic in every relationship and environment you're part of. When you carry the energy of continuous growth and possibility, you unknowingly challenge others' comfort with their status quo, triggering what psychologists call growth anxiety. This anxiety has neurological foundations. The brain naturally conserves energy by establishing stable patterns and routines. When it encounters someone embodying significant positive change, it registers a potential threat to these energy-saving patterns. The unconscious calculation becomes, if I acknowledge their transformation as positive, I might need to change too. Research in the psychology of motivation, particularly studies on the status quo bias, demonstrates that humans generally prefer current states over change, even when change might offer improvements. Your visibly positive evolution challenges this bias, creating cognitive dissonance that often resolves as criticism rather than inspiration. This dynamic intensifies within close relationships. Family systems theory shows that families develop complex homeostatic mechanisms that resist changes in any member, even positive ones. When you transform your energy through personal growth work, you're not just changing yourself but disrupting the entire system's equilibrium. Ancient wisdom traditions acknowledge this challenge through concepts like the Hindu idea of samskaras, deeply grooved patterns of thinking and behaving that resist change. Your fresh energy and perspectives naturally highlight the existence of these grooves in others, sometimes before they're ready to acknowledge or address them. What makes this particularly painful is that your growth often triggers others' deepest fears about their own capacity for change. Their resistance rarely comes from disagreement with your new perspectives, but from fear that they might not be capable of similar transformation if they were to try. When your positive growth triggers unexpected negative reactions, remember that you're encountering one of the most fundamental aspects of human psychology: resistance to change. This understanding allows you to maintain compassion for others while continuing your own evolution without unnecessary guilt. The spiritual weight of sight, seeing what others cannot yet see. One of the less discussed aspects of carrying positive energy is the expanded awareness that often accompanies it. Through practices like meditation, self-reflection, energy work, or spiritual study, you may have developed the ability to perceive dynamics, patterns, and possibilities that aren't yet visible to others. This expanded sight, while valuable, can create significant misunderstanding. Developmental psychology, particularly constructive developmental theories like Robert Kegan's, suggests that humans move through predictable stages of consciousness, each with distinct ways of making meaning. Someone at an earlier developmental stage literally cannot comprehend the perspective of someone at a significantly later stage. The frameworks for understanding simply aren't yet constructed in their consciousness. This creates what philosophers call an epistemic gap, a fundamental difference in how reality is perceived and understood. When you speak or act from your expanded awareness, others may interpret your words and actions through their more limited perceptual framework, creating inevitable misinterpretation. The history of wisdom traditions contains numerous examples of this dynamic. Many spiritual teachers throughout history were initially misunderstood or even persecuted, not because their messages were threatening, but because they were operating from a level of perception that transcended the dominant consciousness of their time. Research in cognitive science offers additional insight through studies on complexity blindness, our inability to comprehend systems more complex than our current cognitive structures can process. Your positive energy often carries this increased complexity, which can be sensed by others even when it can't be fully understood, creating a feeling of unease or even threat. This dynamic often manifests in specific phrases directed at positive, aware individuals. You're overthinking things, you're too sensitive, or you're making this more complicated than it needs to be. These responses typically reflect the gap between different levels of perceptual complexity rather than actual errors in your understanding. When your perspectives are dismissed or misinterpreted despite your best efforts to communicate clearly, consider that you may be encountering a natural limitation in human developmental stages rather than willful misunderstanding. This recognition fosters patience while reducing unnecessary frustration. The alchemical transformation: how misunderstanding refines your light. While being misunderstood can be painful, Spiritual traditions across cultures suggest that this challenge serves a deeper purpose in the development of truly integrated positive energy. This process parallels what alchemists called refinement through resistance, the understanding that certain qualities can only be fully developed when tested against opposing forces. Modern psychological research supports this ancient wisdom through studies on post-traumatic growth and resilience. Being genuinely misunderstood creates a specific type of adversity that, when navigated consciously, strengthens rather than diminishes positive qualities. This strengthening occurs precisely because maintaining your authentic energy, despite external misinterpretation, requires deeper anchoring in internal validation. The neuroscience of habit formation offers additional insight. When you consistently choose to maintain your positive energy despite misunderstanding, you strengthen neural pathways associated with intrinsic motivation and values-based action. Over time, your positive energy becomes less dependent on external validation and more resilient to fluctuating social responses. Spiritual biographies across traditions frequently highlight periods of misunderstanding as crucial to the development of spiritual maturity. These challenges force a purification of intention. Are you radiating positive energy to be liked, or because it aligns with your deepest truth regardless of reception? This clarification process ultimately creates a more authentic and powerful energetic presence. Research in emotional intelligence suggests that navigating misunderstanding develops specific aspects of EQ that would not be cultivated in environments of constant validation. These include emotional differentiation, distinguishing your emotions from others; emotional independence, maintaining your state despite external influences; and empathic accuracy, understanding others' perspectives without merging with them. This alchemical perspective reframes periods of being misunderstood not as failures of communication or connection, but as necessary crucibles for developing energetic sovereignty, the ability to maintain your authentic frequency regardless of external circumstances. While this understanding doesn't eliminate the pain of misinterpretation, it offers a meaningful context that transforms these experiences from mere suffering into purposeful development of your capacity to carry truly unconditional positive energy. 7. Powerful strategies for lightworkers navigating misunderstanding. Now that we understand why genuinely positive energy often creates misunderstanding, let's explore practical techniques for navigating these challenges without compromising your authentic light. These strategies will help you maintain your natural radiance while creating more harmonious connections. 1. Practice energetic discernment. Develop your ability to read energy fields before fully engaging. Before important interactions, take a moment to sense the energetic environment. Close your eyes briefly, take 3 conscious breaths and ask, is this space receptive to my full energy, or do I need to introduce it gradually? Create an energetic dimmer switch for different contexts. This isn't about being inauthentic, but strategically choosing how much of your light to reveal at once. In less receptive environments, start by matching the existing energy and gradually elevating it, rather than immediately introducing a stark contrast. Learn to recognize the subtle signs of energy resistance in others. Sudden topic changes when you express positivity, physical distancing, dismissive humor, or excessive eye contact breaking. These cues help you gauge when to provide more space rather than intensifying your energy. 2. Master the art of energy translation. Adapt your language to bridge perceptual gaps. When sharing insights or perspectives that come from your expanded awareness, first establish common ground by connecting to shared experiences before introducing new concepts. Develop what spiritual teachers call skillful means, the ability to package your energy and insights in forms others can receive. This might mean explaining a spiritual concept using psychological terms for someone with a scientific mindset, or translating an intuitive knowing into practical steps for a pragmatically oriented person. Practice the 3 translations rule. When important communications are consistently misunderstood, challenge yourself to find 3 completely different ways to express the same truth. This flexibility increases the chances of finding a frequency that resonates with different types of receivers. 3. Establish healthy energetic boundaries. Create a morning energy protection practice. Visualize your energy field as a luminous egg surrounding your body. Set the intention that while your light can radiate outward, others' projections and misinterpretations remain outside your field, unable to penetrate your core sense of self. Develop energetic circuit breakers, quick techniques to disconnect from others' projections when you feel them affecting your state. Try physically brushing off your shoulders and arms while visualizing negative projections falling away, or use the phrase, "This belongs to them, not to me," as a mental reset when you feel misunderstood. Learn to recognize the difference between genuine intuitive guidance about how your energy affects others versus anxious mind chatter about potential misinterpretation. The former feels calm and clear, while the latter creates circularity and doubt. Honor the first. Release the second. 4. Cultivate compassionate detachment. Practice seeing misunderstanding through the lens of developmental stages. When someone misinterprets your intentions, silently acknowledge, "They're perceiving me through the framework available to them right now." This perspective reduces personalization while maintaining compassion. Implement the lighthouse principle, like a lighthouse that doesn't stop shining simply because some ships sail in different directions. Your positive energy continues to radiate regardless of how others respond to it. Its presence remains valuable, even when not universally appreciated. Develop specific self-compassion practices for after difficult interactions. Place a hand on your heart and speak to yourself with the understanding kindness you would offer a friend. It's painful to be misunderstood when your intentions are good. This is a common human experience, and it doesn't diminish your worth or the value of your energy. 5. Find your energetic tribe. Actively seek environments where your natural frequency is recognized and valued. These resonant connections are not merely comforting. They provide essential validation that helps you maintain your authentic energy amid broader misunderstanding. Create regular energy restoration time with those who truly see you. Even brief connections with those who appreciate your natural frequency can replenish your energetic reserves and remind you that your way of being makes complete sense within the right context. Consider forming or joining a light circle, a regular gathering of individuals committed to maintaining positive energy despite external challenges. These intentional communities provide both practical support and the strength that comes from shared purpose. 6. Transform triggers into growth opportunities. Develop a personal inventory of your most common misunderstanding triggers, the specific types of reactions that most deeply affect your energy. For each trigger, create a growth question that transforms reaction into reflection, such as, "What aspect of myself needs strengthening if this type of misunderstanding still affects my peace?" Practice the energy alchemy technique. When you feel the contraction that comes with being misunderstood, consciously breathe into that tight space while visualizing the contracted energy transforming into expanded awareness. This practice literally converts the energy of pain into fuel for growth. Create a lessons integration journal specifically for recording insights from challenging interactions. After difficult exchanges where your energy was misinterpreted, write about what the experience revealed about both yourself and human nature. This transforms frustration into wisdom that serves your continued evolution. 7. Refine your communication with strategic vulnerability. Master the art of bridging vulnerability, strategically sharing appropriate personal challenges that make your positive energy more relatable. Paradoxically, revealing that your light coexists with normal human struggles often makes others more receptive to your authentic positivity. Practice what communication experts call meta-communication, talking about how you're communicating. Simple phrases like, "I notice my enthusiasm sometimes comes across differently than I intend." Create space for others to reflect on their reception of your energy without feeling blamed. Develop comfort with the pause and presence technique. When you sense resistance to your energy, pause before responding, take a breath, and simply be present with what's happening. This momentary spaciousness often allows tensions to naturally dissolve and creates opening for genuine connection. Remember that maintaining your authentic positive energy in a world that often misunderstands it isn't just a personal challenge. It's part of the essential work of elevating collective consciousness. Each time you navigate misunderstanding without dimming your light, you create more possibility for others to recognize and express their own inner radiance. The journey of carrying genuine positive energy in a world that sometimes misunderstands it is not just your personal struggle. It's part of a larger evolutionary process unfolding through you. Throughout this exploration, we've uncovered the deeper mechanisms behind the paradox of misunderstood goodness. How your light reflects others' shadows, how frequency mismatches create natural resistance, how authenticity can seem suspicious in a world of masks, and how your growth and expanded awareness can trigger others' fears. We've also discovered powerful strategies for navigating these challenges. Practicing energetic discernment, mastering energy translation, establishing healthy boundaries, cultivating compassionate detachment, finding your energetic tribe, transforming triggers into growth, and refining your communication through strategic vulnerability. Perhaps the most liberating truth is this: the misunderstanding of your energy isn't a sign that something is wrong with you, or that you need to fundamentally change how you show up in the world. Rather, it's an inevitable aspect of carrying higher frequencies in environments still adjusting to new possibilities of consciousness. Consider this question: what might become possible if you fully embraced your role as a frequency holder? Someone whose primary contribution is maintaining a certain quality of presence regardless of external validation? How might your relationship to misunderstanding transform if you viewed it not as an obstacle to overcome, but as an essential part of the work you came here to do? The world doesn't need more people hiding their light to make others comfortable. It needs those brave enough to maintain their authentic frequency while developing the wisdom to navigate the resistance it naturally creates. Your misunderstood goodness might be exactly the catalyst needed in environments that have forgotten what genuine positivity feels like. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to like and subscribe for more insights that support your personal evolution. Share in the comments one way you've experienced being misunderstood for your positive energy. Your story might help someone else feel less alone on their journey. Until next time, remember that being misunderstood doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It might just mean you're doing something revolutionary. The information presented on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a doctor or a qualified healthcare professional for any concerns about your health. If you are experiencing health issues, seek medical assistance immediately. Never ignore symptoms or delay seeking medical care based on information found online.